Before I had a relationship with Christ, I thought I had everything under control. And I was the boss of my life. For 39 years, I was introduced to Northeast by now my wife, Janora. And to be honest with you, at that time, the only reason I came to the little chapel we had was because of her. I wanted to be close to her. At the time, I really wasn't practicing my faith that I was raised as. And from that point on, I was kind of a backseat Joe, and I would go every once in a while.
I remember when Tim first showed up at Northeast in 1989. I joke with him now and say he was a sharp-dressed man because he always came in with a suit on, tie, looking sharp. But I also remember that he sat kind of on the back row, and that kind of reflected his attitude at that point. He really wasn't sure about this whole church thing. I think he was here just because of Janora, and so he looked good on the outside, but I was always uncertain about the effect we were having on the inside.
1997 finally caught up with me, and I walked in the door and found a note from my wife saying, "Tim, I've had enough. I'm leaving." We were married for 8 years at the time, and I did not even see it coming. My priorities at the time were all out of whack, and everything came tumbling down at that instant for me. My priorities were my job, my wife, my family, and then church. And so I remember that night is really the first time I really prayed, and I got on my knees, and I asked God to show me the way. It was obvious that I was not doing life right. You know, I didn't know Bob. I came here part-time, but his name kept coming into mind. And I called one day the office, and I said, "I need to talk to somebody about my life." And so he opened the door. And I remember that afternoon, I asked him, "What do I need to do to straighten this thing out, my life?" He said, "You need to surrender. You need to turn your life over to Christ and make Him your Lord and Savior." And I said, "All right, I want to do that. That's what I want to do." And so that afternoon I did, on my knees right there. Now, hey, I was a big time, you know, I thought I was a big man. I didn't shed any tears. I didn't show any emotions. But I was broke that afternoon on that floor. I'm broke. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now that I've accepted Christ, my priorities are in line. They're God, my wife, my family, my church, and work, in that order.
And it's really obvious how much Tim loves God and wants to serve Him with all of his heart. And he really does that well.
I have the unique opportunity in sharing an office with Tim Lott. And one of the cool things about sharing the office is that we get to have one-on-one conversations quite often. And he's constantly sharing with me how he wants to strive to have a great relationship with his wife, Janora. And it's not just something he works hard at, but it's something that he does. And he has been a great example for me in that, and how I would like to have that in my own life. And his life has truly become full circle in how he serves not just in ministry, but also in his family.
And I have a new beginning. And when those tough times come and I feel hurt, I got God to lean on. And now I don't have to hide behind the nice house and the money I was making and working real hard and not paying attention to things I should be paying attention to. Now I can honestly say I go to Jesus Christ.
I came back on staff in 2000, and I get to work now with Tim every day, and I can tell you nowadays, Tim doesn't have to be a sharp-dressed man on the outside because he's a sharp-dressed man on the inside. He is a changed person, a changed life, and it's a pleasure to work with him every day. He has a servant's attitude. He's always pointing the credit to others, and I count it a privilege to call him my friend.
I am very blessed to be doing what I do and sharing with others. And a great thing is that I'm not the only person with a changed life here today. There's many of us out there. And I get an opportunity to see this in progress and work with these folks, with my volunteers.
And he loves people. He is such a great team builder, and he just pulls together the people on his team, and he just takes time to serve them and love them, and he'll just take time to talk with them one-on-one, and he just does such a great job of building that team into the ministry that it's become today.
It's just a blessing, and I thank God for giving me the opportunity.
I've watched him grow and develop and mature so much over the last few years. And I know at one time he really struggled with this whole idea that he didn't have the same ministry training background and ministry education that some of us had. But you know what? We've watched him develop so much over the last couple of years that the reality is now that Tim he's one of us. He's our colleague. And we just really treasure that and rejoice with him in this. So I know today is really a special day to acknowledge that publicly. And Tim, I just want to say how proud I am to serve next to you and how proud I am that you're a part of this team.
To be honest, 6 years ago, I would have laughed if you said Tim Lott will be working at Northeast Christian Church. I would have laughed 6 years ago. But now here I am sitting in front of you saying that I'm a part of people's lives being changed. You know, I'm just holding on. It's been one heck of a ride, and I'm just holding on.